Well, it says we're live. I'm gonna believe that.
Okay.
And there's the stream. Okay. Yep.
All right, let me. Oh, wait, no, no. I was gonna say, let me go watch
Yes.
that on Twitch to make sure, but I was like, no,
Well, you don't need to
you
do that.
silly. We're live. Yeah, I know. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a bad, or no, it's a good habit actually.
Right.
But
Okay,
but
so
hey,
as soon as someone shows up, they can give us feedback on sound levels, and that's fine.
I
Uh,
will. I I know you said I didn't have to do it, but I actually, before all this even happens, I have a like convoluted setup to hear if it's like
okay.
working.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Go for it.
Oh Lord,
Maybe
let's
I'll
see if I
I'll
can
I'll
even.
I'll get into the game and like make game noise
Yeah,
to
do
make
that.
sure that doesn't.
I hate using Twitch phone apps.
Oh,
It's really something. It's not that bad, but like if you want something quickly and you didn't set it up for yourself,
well,
it's like the worst. Hello, the player character.
yeah. This guy's still alive. Huh, good for him. Yeah, I've thought a little bit about whether I should have a better name for this character other than sometimes if I have a default name, sometimes there's a Haze Rewind, which is an anagram of Zweihander.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't know if I love that name for this character, but I don't have a better one.
Yeah, I don't have any good suggestions. I'm like not good at naming at all.
It's I think the best name about Dark Souls characters that or the best joke about it that I've heard is that for other games you can if you have a nameless character, who is the player character, they can be like John Video Game. But
Oh yeah, that's
For
right.
Dark Souls, the default character is definitely Mark Souls.
Yeah, it's definitely Mark Souls.
But there's no female form of that, and it's kind of hard to think of a feminine name that ends in that rhymes with dark.
It's gonna bother me for as long as I can't think of a female name that doesn't rhyme with dark.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you can do that, then you're better than me because I couldn't.
Oh, like Lark? Are women? Do they get named that?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Lark almost works, except I can't think of a woman I know or have ever heard of with that name.
I
So
yeah, I don't think I can either, unless it's like a fictional. I'm sure there's a fictional
yeah,
character.
you can. Yes. And, and the point of a generic name is that it's a common name like Bob or something. But anyway, maybe we should start start doing
Yeah, maybe
things.
maybe we should like do the content. I listened
Right.
to it with the stream by the way, and it sounds pretty okay.
Okay.
I'm like a little bit we're our volumes are both good, but my voice is really piercing. But that could just be me.
Yeah. Good evening, Ogre.
Hello, Ogre.
I will also note that there's a possibility that my cat might get bored, and if he gets too bored, I'm gonna go put him in the back room. But
Oh, well,
some,
that's okay.
that's okay. He'll be okay. He get mostly when I'm like playing video games with my computer. He has two modes. One of which is sitting on my lap. The other one is like hollering at me because he's bored and wants to do something other than that. But usually if I'm actually streaming or even anything and using like the Xbox controller, he's somehow okay with that, but not with me doing anything that involves using the mouse. It's a little baffling, but that's
I
okay.
don't understand the cat as well.
Cats are inscrutable. Alright, so I did some off-screen stuff with this character again. To review the bidding, we want to set up a scenario that looks nice so that we can have Chuuurls do a picture of Dark Souls stuff.
Of it.
Yeah. This character that we don't
That.
have a name for. Okay, so what I did, I fought most of the Lord Soul bosses because I don't think that most of those fights are actually not very interesting. I got into the DLC, I got tagged a whole bunch of warpable bonfires, so we have a lot of
Oh.
different places to go here. The one Lord Soul I did not fight was the Four Kings because I want to consider parts of New Londo to see if there's any place there we like, since I like that area personally.
Mm-hmm.
And then while we're down there, we can fight the Four Kings.
That sounds fun.
So let's just start with that because it's the thing that we have to do at some point anyway, and then maybe we can go from there.
Yeah, that sounds fine to me.
Okay. Alright. So I unlocked most of New Londo. Sort of, I did the busy work part of going down there. It's kind of an interesting place because there are no bonfires in it other than the one after you beat the boss, which is unusual since all of the other like second half of the game areas have bonfires in them, and this one is sort of like gated in the sense that you have to lower the water in order to get to the second part of the area.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like it's not a small area because there's like the first part and then there's the second part after you lower the water. So the water's already lowered here, and so there's all this exposed architecture.
Ah, yes.
Which is neat. You also get the sound effects, which are cool. And like there's a big echo effect on all the sound around here, so not a big echo effect, just noticeable. Also, I'm gonna need to put on the stuff so I can fight the ghosts. Ghost
I was gonna say about the bonfires. I guess it's kind of close to the sort of like Lordran area. Or sorry, what is it called?
Firelink.
Firelink. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because it's close to Firelink, like that is one reason why there isn't a bonfire anywhere else. Okay, so if we're gonna like again consider putting a fictional bonfire somewhere, it probably won't be in the upper part.
Yeah, it probably would be in the lower part because the upper part looks cool as a background pigment.
So I'm going to proceed directly to the lower part, which we are in now. And I'm going to, like, whenever there's a dark wraith nearby, I will kill it just so it doesn't bother us.
Good.
And I probably... Oh, no, okay. Okay.
They always reminded me of the really strong orc from Lord of the Rings trilogy movie.
Oh, the, like, Uruk-hai?
Uruk-hai? Yeah, that's right. It's been a hot second since, like, it's, you know what, it's getting weird that a lot of the movies that I've seen are, like, 15 years ago now.
Yeah, like, Fellowship of the Ring was,
forever
like
ago,
16 years ago, I want to say, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So long.
Should be another ghost. There he is.
Trapped in the wall.
Yeah. There. Now there should be another Dark Wraith also. That will... There he is. New Londo is interesting because it has a very forgiving lock-on, like, rules.
Yeah.
Because it lets you lock onto things you definitely can't see. Which later games, like, other areas aren't even that polite about that.
Yeah, definitely not.
And I think later games are also a little more proactive about, hey, this area is dark. You can't actually lock onto things that easily.
Dark area, Dark Souls.
Yeah, right. Like,
I'm afraid not. Yeah.
oh, I did have one specific area in mind, which is where I'm going right now, as far as a place to think about.
Okay.
Sure. Actually, I'll pick this up for. Can't have too many Titanite chunks. Okay. And there's a guy over there, but I don't need to fight him. However, the guy here, which, again, once he gets over here, there he is. This is like the place in the game where you farm for Titanite chunks, which are kind of a fairly fundamental upgrade material. And so I have fought these Dark Wraiths a whole lot over my Dark Souls career.
It's good because then you won't struggle with having to kill some of these.
Right,
dudes.
yeah. I mean, this guy took a little while because he wasn't behaving, but... Okay. Alright, so this is the place I was thinking about, mainly because there's a lot of interesting angles here. There's a big pile of mostly skulls. There's a lot of skulls. There's a funny bone crunching foley that you get walking at everywhere. There's also a lot of these, like, presumably drowned bodies.
Yeah.
Which are I can take or leave, but most of the pile of skulls is something.
Not hard line about the drowned bodies. I like the wraiths. Or sorry, what are they called? Wyverns?
The drake. They used to be drakes because that's the Valley of Drakes over there.
Valley Drakes. Oh, of course. Okay.
Yeah. And then there's like architecture. I haven't usually don't look.
Fake Firelink.
Yeah. I mean, there's like that. So that's a shortcut to um, like the Valley of Drakes is a weird area. It's like one of the most throwaway areas in the game because it's
Yeah.
just kind of shortcuts to other places.
I always
And
felt like that was kind of a shame because I like the sort of feel of Valley of Drakes
yeah,
overall.
it's interesting. Also, it's where you have to go to pick up the witch's robe, so that's important.
Yes.
There's no reason why the witch's robe is like put there. It's just kind of like it's normal game design
Right.
of like rewarding the player for exploring, and they needed to put it somewhere. Anyway,
Hmm.
Ogre says he loves the very tall door, which is true.
It's true. That is cool.
It's a it's almost hard to get it into a shot where you can even tell that it is a door. Like the player knows it's a door, but otherwise, you have to like
Right. It
angle
looks like
the
a big
camera.
weird castle side facet. Well,
Right.
facade facet.
Facade.
No, it's a facade. Yeah.
Yes.
Well.
Anyway, so
Let's- Go
in
ahead.
my mind, I was kind of thinking about uh, maybe near the big pile of skulls,
Would be good.
slapping, having that be the central point. So I don't know if you have any thoughts about like. And again, I have not spent a lot of time looking way up.
Okay. Well, some of this angling is actually pretty all right. I don't know if this is just my monitor. One thing about this area
Hmm.
is that it's not very impactful.
I-
Like as far as the contrast goes, it's pretty
Also, like
dreary.
as far as color is, like everything is this kind of yellowish brown. So that's.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
sort
going to
of
be
like-
probably true in most of New Londo. So
Well,
unless
I mean, there's a cool feel here and there
I mean,
of things.
I guess one thing we could try to do is try to get that view out the door. I mean, in the game, in the real game, you actually can't get the big pile of skulls in frame with the big door because they're sort of opposite each other.
Indeed.
But you could not. You could just like move the pile of skulls closer to be at a decent angle with the door.
There's
like-
an angle near the skull pile that actually looks pretty good to me. It's sort of like from where if you're looking straight at the skull pile, sort of like you were a second ago.
Okay, I can
It's
look.
sort of like to the right
You can
and up.
direct the
Let's do-
camera. I'm looking straight at the skull pile now to the right and up this way.
Yeah, more up, but and then kind of turn slightly to the left. I thought I saw something here that looked kind of yeah. Okay. See, like
Right.
I think this as a background is pretty cool.
Yeah, this is
Maybe
all right.
if your character was backed up from the pile a bit to sort of put it all in perspective, but this may
Right.
require a camera angle that's like not possible to do in the game.
Right.
Oh, what is that figure on the top of the pile?
That's probably the near. We can go find that. I think it's probably the. Let's just go there because we.
It's actually really cool.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
Yeah. It's,
Like for a picture, I like that.
right. It's near the entrance to the boss fight, which. Is this even the correct way to go? Yes, this is the only way to go that way, which means I have to fight several more dark wraiths, but that's fine. Hello. This guy's very polite and lets you walk straight around him to backstab him.
Wow.
Dark wraiths in general are pretty polite about that, but that guy like doesn't even try to do anything at all.
He's given up.
That's one thing that they really clamped down on a lot in Dark Souls 2 and to a lesser degree in Dark Souls 3 is like almost nobody will let you just walk around them to backstab
Right.
them.
Yeah, nobody just hangs out anymore after that.
Like the Lothric Knights, I think in Dark Souls 3 are kind of designed to teach you that specifically. It's like, hey,
Mm.
I know you learned this trick in Dark Souls 1, but you need to stop doing that because we aren't going to let you do it anymore.
Oh yeah, so I know you said that you didn't particularly like 2. What did you think of 3?
I think 3 is fine. Like the main reason why I don't play it more is that I've played Dark Souls 1 so much that playing it is not stressful anymore. So it's basically like this is casual gaming for me now.
Yeah, I
It's
gotcha.
which is why I'm able to do things like this where I basically just do whatever nonsense I want and I'm not concerned about success or failure because
Right.
I mean if I fail it's probably due to my own hubris and I can live with that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, like after you blast the game open, it's not really.
Right.
Oh, so what is going on
So,
here? What
so,
is-
so there's the
like a
entrance to the
Y?
boss door. Now the problem is I can't I can't like get that close. So there's the figure.
I
Now
don't know what that is, like, at all. I can't even guess.
it's just a person.
Oh, it's just like a statue of a person,
Yeah,
maybe?
and like so it's these statues here probably. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that looks pretty cool from far away. I sort of like that.
And it's presumably one of these things just stuck on top of a dome. Uh,
Actually, I wonder if here, this sort of bridge area might be good for a fake one.
hmm.
It's sort of like a precarious place to put one, but at the same time, there's like a lot of interesting.
Well, I mean, you could put it like over here, where
Yeah,
there's
that's
like
what
a
I'm thinking.
view of the bridge, and
Like, yeah, angled up as I
again,
keep insisting.
one of the things that we have
Like
not
here, you can't really do it.
discussed too much is that like presumably the aspect ratio of the final work will not be 16:9.
No, did you say something like it was gonna be like 22 by
I didn't give really specific
something?
things. I sort of think it'll be closer to square than this, and maybe
Closer.
even taller than it is wide.
Yeah, for some reason I thought that you were gonna ask for taller than wide. Like I had it specifically in my head. It was gonna be like,
I said like portrait sized, which is
yeah, that's what
in
I
my
have in
mind
mind.
like 8.5 by 11 or whatever. I mean, I don't expect it to actually be exactly that size. That's a
I
little
thought
silly.
you...
But,
This is funny. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about, or not allowed, but I don't know if it's good to talk about on stream. But I was, I thought you were gonna go for something like big.
no,
For
no, no.
some,
I think the 8.5 by 11 is pretty small. Like,
that's pretty small.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think probably what I said was like maxing out at like 20 by 20.
Oh, okay. Wait a
which
sec. I actually, as it happens, I have a tape measure right here. Let me think about this. I don't want to think too long about it because, of course, we're
no,
in the middle of something here. But
no, that's fine.
you know, this would help if I like had a better idea of what standard print sizes were over 8.5 by 11. But I'm afraid I've been out of the game too long, and I'm not sure.
Maybe that's the kind of thing we can look up later. I don't know.
Yeah, certainly.
Meantime,
Or
we
like,
can admire the giant sword.
yeah, let's admire the giant structure.
So,
But this is cool. This is a good area.
right. So this is interesting. The other possibility, how would I get there? I'd have to take the elevator. Is back at Ghost House, especially on top of Ghost House is what I'm thinking of.
On top of Ghost House.
Yeah, which is where Ingwer lives. So let's go over to there.
Yeah, let's visit
Which
there.
means we're gonna have to kill a lot of ghosts, which might take a minute, but that's fine.
That is fine with me.
Okay, let's go ahead and crack our ghost hand, and this will be interesting. I don't usually approach this fight from this angle, but I'm not worried about that too much. As long as I don't fling myself off a cliff. So there's gonna be a lot of ghosts down here.
Ghosts.
Ouch. Okay. Alright. Anybody else want some? This is kind of... There are so many ghosts here, and because they can go through walls, like you can think you're done and then two more pop out from somewhere. But let's just say that's all for now.
Yes. Well, it's okay. All those ghosts gave me a brief opportunity to refresh my memory about print sizes. 16 by 20 is like the first of the larger. Sorry, that's 16 inches wide by 20 inches tall.
Yeah.
That's like a good place to start. There's 20 by 24. There's 20 by 30 from some places, which is it's a little much. I like my art, but I don't like it that much.
It's like, ugh.
Not that big, please.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, what is it?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Welcome to my ghost home.
Yeah. Ogre says that this would be a good spot for a bonfire if they had decided to actually put one here.
Yeah, I agree
He's
with
definitely correct. So one thing is that there's like little glowies off in the distance. I think probably if we were using a shot like this, we would leave those off just because they kind of.
I think we would.
Those are there for gameplay and not for aesthetics.
Right, I agree.
Okay, so I guess the question is, can we see that figure? We should be able to see the figure from the top of Ghost House. Which direction is it? Is it over here?
Wait, do you have binoculars?
Oh yeah, I do have binoculars. I should. I probably don't need the soapstone.
Maybe. Maybe not.
The other thing I could do. Well, let's see. Binoculars and using a bow would have the same magnification effect, but this won't affect my carry weight. So let's see. So there's the door. We are quite familiar with the door, and that arrangement is where is the usual approach to Ghost House. All the arches and
all
stuff. And that means that it should be over here. Now let's pull out the binoculars. Oh, there it is. Okay, so you can barely see it. It's real dark.
Yeah, it's kind of like a weird. It's not quite like the statues below it, but it's.
Yeah,
like,
it seems
it's
more
it's cool.
like made out of smaller stones than an actual an actual carving. But let's see.
It's pretty neat. I like it. It's very Souls.
Yeah, that's one of the things I kind of thought that. I mean, again, I've said before that I think Dark Souls 3 kind of takes the style and makes it a little bit excessive. But
yeah, I agree with that.
Like weeping statues is like that statue is not actually weeping. That's just kind of a down.
It's just hanging out
a
on top.
Figure of a person sort of with their head bent over. But
right, it's kind of austere. It's not like dramatic.
Right. I don't think Dark Souls 3 might not actually have weeping statues, but it has a lot of pretty morbid statuary, including the game mechanic where you have to have the statue cut off its own head to bleed into the bowl, which is just yeah, okay, we're not too over the top here. And also statues of knights that are decapitated and holding their own heads, and that's like that.
Whoa.
That decoration is all over the place in Dark Souls 3.
It's very symbolic.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
okay. Anyway, so I guess the question is do we like any of these angles? And also if we were doing something from up here, we could probably skip the fencing.
Oh, well, I don't know about that.
I don't know.
Cool. Maybe not.
One kind of interesting angle here is we can get all these arches and the fencing.
Yeah, from
which.
Well, the only thing I see as a potential problem with that is getting the character in the shot might be a little bit hard.
Right, there might be a lot of finagle. You probably would definitely not be doing an exact transcript of. Oh
well, you know what? Well, because the ratio of the picture is going to be, or sorry, not the ratio, but the layout is going to be portrait. It actually becomes possible, but I would still need probably multiple views of reference.
Right.
I'm kind of fascinated by the door area.
Let's see. I feel like the door is pretty far away. We could.
If you would come forward from the door, but keep it in view, I think it becomes a little bit more interesting because there's there's that space on the top. Or whatever.
Yeah.
But is it the strongest of all of them? Not really.
I think probably from the last stream, one of the ones that I liked the most was in the forest at the actual bonfire, where you could see the moonlight butterfly in the background.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Because that had a lot of good elements in it.
It did. I think that was a pretty strong one.
So I guess that's kind of the benchmark of, can we get anything as good or better than that?
Well, that makes things easier. If it is the benchmark, then
there's a ghost over there.
Yeah, it's not as good. Okay, so I would rank the butterfly view as 1, and maybe the second one would be the one that includes that mystery statue in Skull Pile.
Oh yeah, over when we're actually standing. Oh.
From the bottom.
From the bottom, yeah. I don't think you can actually. So you mean getting the Skull Pile and the mystery statue in the same shot?
Yeah, I think it's possible.
Can we do that? I mean, yes. Yeah, if you rearrange the components.
Yeah, if you think about the sort of viewing frame of it, I think
we can get pretty close back there, and I'm going to just go look at it again. Because you can just step over here,
Whee!
and we're right back here. Right. 'Cause
Oh, so there's that area, and then there was like the lowest area
I
of
mean,
all, which is
down
the one
actually
I
by the
was
skull
thinking.
pile.
Yeah, like the most downest. Yeah.
Right. So, see, this is again what I'm talking about with like, I'm good enough at Dark Souls that I can just like, oh, I need to be over here, flip, flip, flip. Okay, I'm right there.
Right.
Oh, right, because there's the statue right there. Yeah.
Right. So
Which,
if you come forward a bit from the statue. Okay, well, I could see some difficulties,
I
but I
mean,
mean, for the most part, this works. This
you could
works.
also just like compress the architecture down a little bit, so I don't have to be like looking up at
Yeah.
at the player's shoes, like.
Yeah. Well,
'Cause
okay, so you're
right
switching
now,
kind of fast, but there's some gentler angles that do sort of keep everything where it
right,
needs to be. Yeah, like
like
this.
there,
Yes.
and
I'm trying
maybe
to think
center
maybe
the
more central. Yeah, okay, so here's cool. I like
Yeah,
that.
this is pretty good. Right, the
Just-
UI is getting in the way, and yes.
Yeah, well, it's okay.
But,
It's alright. I'm using my
yeah.
imagination, but just for the sake of my references later, if you can like kind of
Right.
eke it up and eke it down from here in this exact spot, that will be good. Okay, good. In there. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's good enough for me. I'll come back later and think about it
Yeah.
in the VOD. I think this is it doesn't look as flashy as some of the other places that I liked, but like that's okay.
Yeah, I think also maybe one thing that I didn't really think about too much is there are other places just to stand in Lower New Londo that are kind of off the beaten track, but might give us interesting views. So,
Oh, cool.
oh no, that poor Dark Wraith.
Oh shit! What happened?
How did that? He must have like died and fallen down there from somewhere else, because
Yeah.
there's no way that a backstab would do that.
Oh jeez.
I think did I actually kill the one over here? I forget. Yes. Anyway, what I'm thinking about is up here. I don't really know what will happen when, what views we will be afforded from up here. But this
Well,
is
it's fine because I don't either.
this will eventually get up a little bit to a higher place. We might be able to see. What I have in mind is that we'll be able to see the statue on top of the dome again, but I'm not sure about that. I'm trying to kind of. I'm gonna cheat and maybe turn up the game brightness a little bit. Oh, it's already at maximum. Okay, never mind.
Oh no.
Did you know
That's okay.
New Londo's a pretty dark area?
Pretty dark, yes.
So up here is where the very large ember is, which is important for making your sword maximum. But okay, so what area am I looking at right here? This is not. Oh, this is like a little inner courtyard. That's the time to bust out the skull. The skull lantern definitely will not do what we want here. I mean, I can demonstrate what happens. Do I even put away? Oh, I put away the skull lantern because I have the equivalent, which is sunlight maggot. This is basically the same thing. I mean, it doesn't actually.
That doesn't.
It makes it brighter around you. It does not cast light far enough to like see other things.
Indeed, it does not.
So that's why we wish it did that, but it doesn't. So this is actually a pretty enclosed space, and is not what I wanted it to be. Because it. Anyway. Okay, I'll probably die if I just flip off the cliff here, so I will not do that. However, I can go over here. I can't remember what happens if you go over here. Yeah, what this is like, that glow is only accessible from the lower New Londo. The other glow that we were looking at is accessible from the top of New Londo, and so it gives you a little bit of interesting recursion, which is
like backtracking.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I was over there half an hour ago. That's kind of neat. Okay.
Yeah, I always like those moments. It always
Yeah.
feels like you accomplished something.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm clearly making progress because I'm now standing in the place that I was looking at from far away. Anyway, okay. Let's see. Do we have any other places that we want to go in? The only thing I can do is maybe take a look around. Where am I? From where you open the doors. The big old capstan thing, which I will pull this lever, and I'm having a hard time describing it. And the big old capstan that you use to open the doors, just to see if you can see anything other than the big old doors from the top of there.
Yeah, let's take a look.
So we want to be over here. So there's the doors, and where's our favorite statue? There it is. Hey, it's actually, that's kind of cool. It's like framed in a little bit of background, but
it's a little. I think I want to see some slightly different angle.
I mean, what you would probably do is just like replace this thing with the bonfire.
Yeah, actually, that would be cool. The one thing is, and this is actually, I just realized I could totally get around this with my art, but it doesn't stand out that well against the background pillars, but that's
right.
Okay, actually. Can totally handle that. I really like the skyline, like the composition of the roofs or whatever. That's cool.
Right.
That's good. Good action.
It's a little bit simplistic, but it's just like big old arch at the bottom, and then medium arches, and then smaller arches.
Yeah. Of course, the skull pile is not.
There's
here.
no skull pile. Oh no.
Won't bother me much. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
That's just 100 less skulls I have to.
Yeah,
show.
right. Yeah, that's like I recognize there's a bit of a challenge in drawing a whole bunch
that's
of
okay.
skulls.
It's actually not that hard. Like,
right.
But thinking about it, I was like, well, that is one consideration.
Okay.
What kind of an artist would I be if I balked at drawing about 100 or more skulls?
A big old pile of skulls. Yeah, right. And again, like if we were down here, I would essentially would be interested in having this actually be a big old pile of skulls instead of the skulls stand out because they have these like 3D skulls sitting around. But like if you look at it, it's like a pile of bodies and skulls.
Yeah, it's a bunch of stuff.
But
I mean, I wouldn't mind if it's a slimy pile of skulls. It just has to be visually impactful. Yeah.
Right, and I'm totally fine with like leaving out all the corpses that are just kind of sitting around.
Yeah. Those macabre.
They don't interest me quite as much.
I'm not interested in these corpses. Good day.
That's pretty much it.
Have to sell your wares elsewhere.
Because I guess like the corpses lend credence to the fact that like this area was flooded and so all these people drowned, and that's fine. Here's another sort of courtyard.
Oh, I like this. Although you can't put a bonfire in the water, it is. Yeah. I like the inclusion of the water.
Yeah, right.
It'd be fun to make like a fake area that included this as well as the last area. But I'm not gonna do it. Or well, I could, but I don't have to. Yeah, but it's cool. I like places like that in video games.
Trying to think if there's anything else. I'm inching towards going ahead and beating the boss since we've.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm not sure there's another. Of course, I don't know the area that well, but I would be surprised if there's another vantage point to consider.
Right. I mean, if like a month from now we decide, oh no, we need to go back into New Londo and look at some other stuff again, then we can definitely do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so to fight the Four Kings, we're gonna use the usual method of getting very fat, and also make sure to put on the Covenant of Artorias, otherwise you just die. And since we're here, let's go ahead and put on the grass, which might not be necessary, but and you can just walk straight off that thing and everything will be fine.
Do some people like land on this outcroppings or steps?
If you do it wrong, like I made it look easy, but if you do it wrong, you accidentally land on one of the other things and die to falling damage.
That's extremely funny to me.
Yeah. Okay, so whoa, that guy hits pretty hard.
Oh.
That's okay.
Oh no. Well, you didn't lose that much. When all was said and done. excuse my sketchbook noises. I'm so
That's
mad
okay.
every time I flip the page and I see my icon in Discord like light up, like the mic
Oh.
picked up something. I'm like, ah. It's the kind of thing that really bothers me. Like if I was editing a podcast, I would have to go and like get that little part and like delete it, and it would make me really mad.
Alright, so since this is New Game Plus, this is going a little bit slower than usual because I can usually kill the kings before the next one spawns, but that's not happening. Oh, of course I say that, now it actually did happen. There he is.
There he is.
Whoops.
Oops.
Ogre says, let's see how many kings. I would be surprised, with this build, like, I would be surprised if it's anything other than exactly 4 kings. Because...
Yeah, I would as well, actually.
I'm not doing enough extra damage to have it only be 3 kings, but I am doing enough damage that it probably won't be more than that.
Mm.
Because that was the 3rd one, and there's definitely less than 1/4 of their health left.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Bonk. Oh no, I'm gonna get grabbed. Hey, you missed.
Nice.
Wow, dodging out of the grab is hard, and
Yeah, good job.
usually isn't worth it. And the magic blast is something I just take.
Yep.
There we go.
Ta-da. Oh yeah, when I was watching this fight, I had a question that I thought might be interesting to ask, which is...
Okay.
So, there's a such thing as having different roll speeds based on how much equipment you're wearing.
Yes.
Is it sometimes better for timing to do a medium roll instead of a fast roll?
Only if you are more used to the medium rolls, so you like instinctively know where your invincibility frames are.
Okay.
If that's pretty much the only reason why you'd want that. Like right now, well, it's worth noting that I did not put on the helmet so that I would not be in heavy roll, and I didn't think that the armor and poise afforded by the helmet would be worth going from medium to heavy. But that's just like again because medium is almost always better than heavy roll.
Yeah, it's manageable anyway.
Right. So, Ogre says fast roll is harder to do some glitches with. That's correct. Also, I will demonstrate the one place because this is really easy to demonstrate, where I personally prefer to be in a medium roll rather than light roll, which is jumping onto this parapet up here. I'm doing this because this is like very close to Firelink. Because medium roll, I think, actually goes a little further than light roll does, like in terms of how far, if you're rolling forward specifically.
Interesting.
So, over here, so this is the buttress that you have to roll onto to go back to the asylum.
Right, the crow.
And talk to the crows and whatever else. In light roll, if you just roll off forward, you will miss the buttress nearly always. You have to do it. You have to take it at a running jump, which is much easier to flub in my experience. However, in medium roll, you can just do this and it just works. Like here I am. Like for me personally, it's a lot easier to not worry about that. So that's the one place where I prefer to be in medium roll rather than light roll. And I can put Wolfring back on. Okay. And yeah, some glitches, it's easier to do if you have the extra just animation frames afforded by medium roll.
Okay.
So yeah, in combat you have almost no reason to want medium roll over light roll. Again, unless you are that used to the those animations, but most people play with a mix of all of at least light and medium. So, given the option, they would prefer light.
Yeah, I sort of understood that. Like you would never choose to do heavy roll unless like, you absolutely need to.
Yeah, that would be pretty strange. Like managing like it actually is kind of a curiosity of a skill, like a parlor trick skill of knowing where your invincibility frames are in fat rolls. So that, like, I mean, you kind of get used to it when you're fighting the Four Kings specifically, because you might be in fat roll and fighting the Four Kings, and so you always feel like a cool kid when you manage to like fat roll dodge one of their attacks, because it's kind of hard to time that correctly.
Right, there's some skill involved.
Where skill is really just a proxy for experience, i.e., have you done it enough? It doesn't mean you're like actually good at anything, but that's how everything in Dark Souls is. What was I doing? I was just putting all my levels into endurance so I can wear bigger and heavier things. Okay. All right. So the next place I thought we might go is the DLC, because you expressed some interest in there. So I unlocked the DLC and fought the first boss, because the first boss is not very interesting. So let's go fight Artorias. So one thing about the DLC is like the first half of the DLC is not very dark, and so it's not ideal for most of what we want, unless we want it to be a place like this, which this place almost has too much stuff going on. Like,
sort of reminds me of Demon Souls. What are they called? The memorial.
The Monumental.
The Monumentals, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is similar to that. And this, in terms of like game map areas, this is supposed to be where you fought Sif, like in the past. I guess.
That's weird. That's cool. It's cool that it's more interesting in the past.
Right.
But yeah, I think I would agree with you that this one is not the one, because this is Dark Souls, not Bright Souls.
Right.
So, there.
Yeah, so we're just gonna move along.
Yep.
Because over here is the bridge that you walk across to fight Sif.
Oh yeah.
And ordinarily in Darkroot you'd come down that ramp, but here in the past we can go up this ramp over here and fight the little guys. Hey guys. I don't actually have to fight them very much, but they are here. Okay, let's get on with it. Alright, so I did unlock the shortcut to go fight Artorias. Again, there's lots of this forest area, and if we wanted to get into it, there's various places we could go. Like we could, if we really like the look of this outside, I mean that's Artorias' arena over there. If we liked the look of that, then I mean
I don't love it that much.
Yeah.
It's too normal. But this sort of like broken down area is kind of cool. Like if you step like pretty far in front of it.
I've never gone back here. Like this is where the stone armor is in the Darkroot Forest. Over there is where the cat. What's her name?
Oh gosh.
What is the Barghest's name?
It's not Shalcora.
Alvina.
Yeah, Alvina. Yeah.
She lives across there, and there's no bridge that here in the past. Somehow, like that doesn't make any sense. Like, how does clearly nothing's being built new here? So what happened to the bridge? You know, who built the bridge?
The flow of time was convoluted. I don't know.
Yes, yeah, the flow of time is convoluted. Yeah.
The bridge went forward travel in time.
So we can go up these stairs, but can't get across there. So
No,
I don't know if you have any. I mean, this is all kind of like fine. I feel like, but if we're gonna do any of these things, we'll probably just do the actual bonfire in Darkroot.
Yeah, I think so as well. I was just about to say that. That's probably better. Also because it's more sort of dark.
Yeah, it is just a darker area.
Yeah.
Because Darkroot in general is darker than the DLC.
Now, I did think this area down here is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Those candles, it's because Chester brings them with him.
Yeah, it's because Chester is a Bloodborne character, so he has those candles. There's again a lot of things up there.
Yeah, okay, over here is sort of interesting, but not like blowing me away really. It's
Yeah.
too nice, maybe. But I think generally speaking, the more into the area you get sort of around here, the more interesting it gets.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so I'm gonna go fight Artorias just to sort of get it over with.
Alright.
Alvina built the bridge. That's a fine argument. Yeah, Alvina's clearly
Yeah.
alive.
She got all her flunkies to do it.
Alright. I had the idea of fighting Artorias with the Dark Sword, but I'm already here, so I'll just do it with the Swyander. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Since this is probably my second favorite fight in the game after Ornstein's Smough. It's kind of actually a little hard to do with a weapon as slow as the Swyander.
Yeah, I imagine.
No, Ogre says this fight is the Burned Head Deluxe. That's basically correct. Like other boss fights, I like making it take forever, which means that I will spend a lot of time just dodging everything Artorias does, because then I feel like I'm good at video games.
Yeah, I was gonna say that in a way must be pretty satisfying, considering how difficult it is to dodge some of this.
So we might be here for a little while.
That
Cause
is
not
fine.
too long, because I only hit him like 3 times and I've done some damage. Whoops! That was a back roll instead of a side dodge. Oh, there he goes for the... Now the question is, on New Game Plus, do I have enough damage to knock him out of that? And I do! Hooray!
Wow.
That's good. I certainly have a lot of experience fighting him after he's juiced up, but... Whoops! Hey, I didn't die.
Oops.
This is
Wow.
a little sloppy, but that's okay. Right, so... there he goes again. I think it's just 2 slashes is enough, yeah. So I really shouldn't even take the third one, because it's essentially going to give him a free hit.
Yeah.
Whoop.
Oops.
Right, so... I think this became my specialty fight when I did it on my first try with the straight sword hilt. Or
nice.
no, broken straight sword. Doing this with straight sword hilt would be a lot harder.
Yes,
but
it would.
broken straight sword is like manageable. It just takes a long time. I actually have attempted this with straight sword hilt. It didn't go very well. I didn't spend a lot of time making it plausible. But yeah, straight sword hilt is like, generally speaking, 10 times worse than broken straight sword. So broken straight sword is feasible, and straight sword hilt is basically not.
Yeah, unless you want to spend like a long time.
Right. So, I mean, I guess maybe straight sword hilt against Artorias might be something I might consider eventually, but like, okay, for comparison, broken straight sword against Artorias took me like 20 minutes, and so it could take approximately 10 times that. Which, whoop, okay.
Oops. Oh,
That's
dear.
fine. It's fine.
Yeah, that actually turned out pretty well.
Which isn't. I kind of made 200 minutes into the realm of feasibility since I beat Gwyn in 100 minutes with bare hand.
Oh.
So that put 200 minutes like only twice as long as that, but that is.
Wow, only twice as long.
Yeah. But again, that's not a thing I really want to do right now. Like, you really have to be in the mood to like actually do nonsense like that.
Yeah.
And let's see. This might finish. There he goes.
Goodbye.
Ogre is arguing that broken straight sword isn't actually feasible.
How dare you?
Which is a reasonable argument. I mean, me and Gnome have done it. It just...
Well, I guess just because you can do it doesn't mean you should or whatever it is.
Right, yeah, that kind of... That's like your reasonable person's argument. Okay, alright, so... Let's take our level. Alright, so now then, I guess... So in order to get to like the... So one nice thing is I think there's an unlit bonfire down at the end of Ulysseal Township.
There may be, yeah.
So, which... I don't know, I guess that's one thing we should probably clear up is like, how much footage of actually lighting a bonfire do you want, and do you think you have enough?
Well, I only need like the integral moment, I feel like.
Right.
Where the bonfire
Because I feel
is
like last stream we did 2, I want to say.
Yeah, as long as I can see the character enough from the front, then like, I think it's gonna be okay.
Right. But I kind of feel like, whoop, oh, you're not dead. Okay.
Ooh.
I feel like we should, if we have one in coming up, then we can go and do it. Also, I don't remember. I may have actually lit that bonfire in New Game. I don't know. So we'll just find out.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
Hey, kids. Okay. So this is a little bit slow.
Well, it's not that bad.
Okay. Oh, right, actually that bonfire is definitely not lit, and I will show you why I remember that once we get there. Nope, that doesn't kill you, okay. So, yes, this will take a little bit of doing. Again, I'm not even, like, stopping to talk about this, because this is mostly just, like, acres of architecture, which is sometimes kind of cool, but
yeah,
isn't very dark. And
yeah,
and it all just is like
slightly dark, but it's the cool thing about this area is that there's like a lot of like sort of dilapidated buildings, and that makes things look interesting. But
yeah.
It is drawing a lot of buildings.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very dark.
I guess we're talking about things not being very dark. I mean, again, I feel like you could probably like.
Oh, I can darken it.
You could darken it certainly. That's a thing that you could do.
Yeah, I could. Or just, you know, the impression of the picture, not like not in the literal sense of like make it dark or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I find this place pretty interesting. I'm not sure. This is like a really silly reason not to want to draw this place, but I don't like the enemies here very much. Like I just don't. It just doesn't appeal to me.
It just at this point, like in the DLC, which I guess is supposed to be like end game content, this is just like 30 minutes of Dark Souls. That's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, it's
just like, here's some more Dark Souls.
I will say, I'm not, in case anybody watching this now or later is like, that's so wrong of you, Chuuurls. I do actually think it's visually interesting, but I like the places best where it's like I said, like rickety, or like when there's like that really narrow pathway they have to walk down, or where you fight Chester as an invader, is that right?
Oh yeah, right.
Anywhere else, it's a little too not into it.
So here's a part where I could die if I mess up.
I could die right now if I felt like it.
Well.
Okay, well you didn't.
Well, not just from that drop. I mean from. Because there's a whole lot of guys here.
Oh yeah, so there are.
Off in the distance over there, there's like. Okay, so I kind of have to like play it a little bit safe. Because there's a wizard off in the distance, and then there's like at least 3 more guys here. I would like to take care of them in a conservative fashion.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops.
Oops.
Okay. Alright, that's enough for now. We can get the wizard later. And I guess it's not required that I go get the key to talk to Goff? Go? I think Nobitten calls him Go, but I don't love that.
Yeah, I don't either think it's Goff.
Or no, I think he calls Executioner Smo and
Smoff.
Yeah, because it's not Smoff, it's Smo.
Yeah, it's Smo. Like dough.
And uh, what is Goff's name? It's my desktop wallpaper, so I should be able to remember what his name is. The Blind Giant.
Yeah.
Hawkeye. Yes, it's okay.
Hawkeye Goff. Yeah.
Hawkeye Goff.
I think he calls himself Go.
I don't think
Not
he does.
Sure. No, I guess he doesn't.
I don't think he ever says his own name.
No, I guess he doesn't. Yeah. I was gonna say, just because it's art related, almost every other country says Van Gogh instead of Van Gogh. It's only I think it's only Americans who say that.
Yeah, I think it's like Americans might do that because they're like, oh, it's French, so you don't say the last consonant. Therefore,
yeah, like,
it becomes
Van
Gogh,
Gogh,
Van Gogh, even though I don't know if he even was French.
He definitely was not French. It's like somewhere near Germany. I don't think he was German. Though.
He might have
I think
been,
he was Dutch.
He might have been Dutch or Flemish or something.
Yeah, he was a Dutch painter. I just looked it up because I had to know. I didn't want to say Dutch because I thought maybe I'd be wrong, which is a bad way to think. Just be wrong if you're gonna be wrong.
Ogre thinks he says Goff, really.
Oh, really? Cool.
I can't think of where in his dialogue he would. Oh, wait. Yeah, because he says, like, let me show you how. Wait. Because, like, when you ask him to kill or to shoot Calamite, he says, well, let me show you how we hunt dragons or something to that effect.
Yeah, something like that.
Speaking of which, oh right, the reason why I wanted to go talk to him, I did pick up the crest key, right? Yes, is because I wanted to buy more arrows. Because the next area, which is the area I did not clear out in New Game, is full of jerks that I prefer to solve with the large bow. But I don't have enough arrows, so I have to go buy some more from Goff. That's what we're doing here.
Oh, okay.
Where's the big old bow? There it is. Okay.
Oh no! I just looked up the Goff stuff, name stuff. In English, it's the voice actor says Goff, but in Japanese, it's written Go. So.
Oh no.
So pick your favorite. I think.
That's quite weird. I'm gonna say that the voice actor probably had more direct interaction with, like, the ADR director, and the ADR director might be in better contact with the writers than the Japanese localization team, maybe.
Yeah, but
that's a difficult
I don't know. That is
detective
hard
work.
To say. I tend to think the Japanese version is probably correct as far as like what the developers wanted because it's a phonetic language, so like you kind of can't.
That's
Wait a second. Do they not have?
There's no Japanese voice acting.
That's what I was about to ask. There's no Japanese voice acting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know what? That's actually a really interesting point. Maybe it really is Goff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mystery of mysteries that I have no way of solving. But I'm gonna keep calling him Goff.
Right. I don't think I need. I didn't buy these the first time, so I'll buy the carvings because they're fun.
Yes.
Yes. Wikidot tells us the exact line where Goff says his name.
There we go.
Okay, so now we have a shortcut, so I still have to fight a couple of guys, but I can use the big old bow to shoot the wizards. And that will make life a little bit easier.
Oops. Oh my god, that was loud.
It was fine. It's good atmosphere. You know, the artist is surrounded by the implements of her trade.
I'm playing. It actually was one of the implements of my trade. It was like my electronic USB tablet.
Oh.
I wonder how much the radiator clanging has showed up.
I have not heard the radiator clanging at all, so...
That's really lucky. I notice when it goes off by itself and I'm not talking, it doesn't pick up, which is great. So as long as I just don't talk when it's happening, I think we'll be fine. Which is hard because sometimes like it clangs when the radiator's not on and I like scream a little bit. I don't think I've done that so far though, so I think we're good.
I think we've been pretty much fine. Okay, so... This next little gauntlet here is obnoxious, which is why I tend to solve it with the big old bow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the plan here is to shoot the wizards and then hope that works pretty much, and then I can fight the little guys with the sword. But oops, missed.
Oops! Oh no.
Problem is the wizards take 2 arrows on new game, so it's kind of optimistic because they looks like they'll mostly take 3 arrows on new game plus. And of course, this guy's just straight further away, so he will take less damage from the first arrow at minimum. Also, he decided not to immediately charge. Okay, that's 3. But he's yep, okay, he's dead. Good. Okay. Now I'm in medium roll unless I take the bow off, which I just sort of bait these guys into coming over here, and thanks, poise. Couldn't do it without ya. All right. Now we have the chain beast jerk over here, who is
the rude guy.
Extremely boring because it's like, here's this mini boss. Once I kill him, we can maybe consider this area. It's got a bunch of decapitated statues, which is...
This slime is cool.
Oops, I need to watch what I'm doing.
Oops. I sort of both hate and like this guy's design.
It's kind of like...
Sort of Silent Hill looking.
Yeah. Also apparently I can stagger him by just overhead slamming, which is good. No, also he didn't even take that. I expected that to take longer. I can pick that up, but I know it's going to be a generic piece of the chainmail set, which I already have, so I'm not going to pick that up. I mean, I guess, okay, so this is like a more gothic, less crumbled version of that area in, like, the transitional area from Parish to Darkroot that we spent some time looking at, where it's a building that the main difference is it isn't falling apart. I mean, this statue specifically is broken, but most of them are not. The fact that
any view... Well, go ahead, sorry.
I mean, the statues are kind of weird in that they probably don't have heads unless... But it's also kind of hard to tell just because...
Right, like were they designed that way?
Like, they are very... It's this kind of artistic laziness in that, like, none of them have heads and all of them... It's just the same statue copy-pasted. So, I mean, it's kind of neat they're holding tree branches, but it's difficult to say what the significance of that is.
I mean, I have a little guess. These are probably all, like, Dusk's antecedents.
Oh, right, yeah, the Ulasil Catalyst, it looks like a smaller version of these things, so...
Yeah. So it's probably, like, some kind of symbol, like, this place, I hate it. Like, I think it's a stretch to say that Manus did it, but somebody probably did.
No, I mean, this was probably supposed to be Ulasil, like, this is Ulasil stuff prior to Manus's arrival.
Yeah, I mean, the headlessness feels like vandalism, but I agree with the rest, yeah.
Like, yeah, the headlessness is vandalism, except that it is so uniform.
It's very clean headlessness.
And none of the heads are, like, around.
Yeah.
So, which is a little bit weird. I mean, unless this one, the broken one, might, but it isn't, so...
Oh, it's weird that only one of them is totally shattered, though.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I don't know what to make of that. That's some
I would
deep lore
interpret
stuff
it
right there.
as, like, the chain guy broke it.
Yeah, maybe.
You can't actually break them in.
Yeah, I would doubt. I wouldn't even
Anyway.
imagine that. Well, the chain guy, I guess he was just really mad at that one
Right.
person. That's it. Where is the chain guy lore? I'm sure
Yeah.
there is chain guy lore.
And now we get the almost jump scare because there'll be a guy on this elevator.
Oh,
Surprise!
Oh, there he is.
Oh no, weapon at risk.
Yes. Good thing you have two.
Yeah, right. This is the only one that's upgraded. I have.
Oh shit.
I'm gonna just use. I have repair powder, and I'll just use some, so I don't have to worry about. Because I don't even have the weapon repair box, so I can't even rest at this bonfire. Anyway, so here's a bonfire, which since I don't really.
I like this one. It's not, it is in a room or whatever, but there's a lot of slime and there's a lot of chains. It's really dark.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dark Souls is.
Right.
Let's just see.
So I don't know. I mean, you can't. There's almost nothing to see about looking up other than a lot of chains, which.
Yeah.
Seems a little silly, but.
I think the character sort of aligned with the corner of the room with maybe like the hole in the background, like the big.
So.
So the other doorway, in other words.
With.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like the scary slime doorway.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually think something like this could be pretty cool.
Let's see. Is that better than like being framed in the doorway? I guess that.
Yeah, it's better. This is too straight on.
Yeah. Or what if I stand here and then point the camera this way? I think I still like it in the corner.
Yeah, I like that corner as well.
Or even like a little offset from the corner. Let's see here.
Oh, and it's cool because there's like chains on the floor as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this is actually, in spite of the fact that it seems kind of simplistic, maybe at first glance, I actually think this is pretty solid.
This is pretty good, yeah.
Has some interesting contrasts, and it's dark.
Right. Let's see.
And it's actually, the outfit is actually shown off very well in this room for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that like because the darkness of the abyss is a fake gameplay effect, like. Yeah. So that it's totally black out there, but over here it's actually reasonably well lit.
Yeah. Well, your character's shininess is bouncing off the walls and making you look really lit. Yeah.
Yeah, because
this is a strong consideration. I would put it on if we have a top 5. It's
on my
top
short
5.
list. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's top 5. So let's see. I have to actually light the bonfire. I'm gonna do the goofy thing where I two-hand the Zweihanders. So that. Anyway, so let's see. Do we have any other considerations before I actually like push the button and light the bonfire?
No, I feel like you moved the camera around enough.
Okay,
so.
all right. So I'll go ahead and do that.
Oh, but turn the wrong way to light the bonfire. Wouldn't it be better if they used their left hand so you could see their outfit? But that's okay.
I mean, I assume you could probably handle that part.
Yeah, certainly. Especially because we've done enough in other areas of the game. I feel like it's possible.
I feel like when I lit the bonfire in Demon Ruins, you got a much better view of the player's hand, anyway.
Yeah. I'll just make a note of that.
I was curious if you could actually see the nails on the witch glove, which not really.
At this instant, no, but we looked at it close enough other times that I sort of know what I. Yeah.
You are able to see like the fingerless glove effect pretty well, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so oops, that's not where I take the sword off. But, okay. Yep. What am I doing? How do I buttons? Okay. I guess I'll rest this bonfire because that's required to get it onto the warpable list in case we want to come back here. This definitely is like the bonfire that's closest to the abyss without being in the Four Kings abyss, which is not a consideration because that place is actually
that place is
geometry and no decorations at all. So
it's just black.
It's just solid black. Yeah.
That's too dark.
I mean, unless you wanted like the picture of like you talking to Kotha, the serpent. That would be something, but that's not really what I want. I'm not gonna go talk to those guys over there. I'm also not gonna fight Manus, because
there's no point really.
I'm not good at it, and it would take a long time. Like I would probably die several times, and I'm there. There also is a bonfire there that is not lit because I didn't get this far in New Game, but I don't want to. I don't. That place is just kind of like a lame version of the end game of where you fight
uh, Win.
Gwyn. Yeah. So where I am going is where Sif is
Oh,
because
okay.
there are some things around here, and also like if we wanted to, one thing to consider is we could put some of these guys in the background if we wanted to like
Yeah, I do think that's cool. I
extra
like these guys.
Halloween spooky kind of atmosphere.
The lighting in here is pretty cool because of how blue it is. It's sort of
Right.
unique in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, they did have a bit of a challenge of they called this place, the Chasm of the Abyss or something like that. So it's like the Abyss, but not as dark because it's not literally black.
Yeah.
Come on, guy. Okay. So around here was what I had in mind, sort of near this area, because we could also, like, how far off in the distance can we get that brick wall and have it still be visible, basically, and also not walk off a cliff. Because, like, over here also is a consideration, I feel like, maybe. But on the other hand, there's not a lot going on.
Yeah, there's not a lot going
It's like
on.
carved, it's, cave arch and then brick wall.
Yeah, I'm not into this very. It's too easy to look at. Oh, this is kind of interesting though.
Oh, you mean like the very...
The crack is there. Yeah, it's just smooth.
I wasn't
It's
even
really
planning on
smooth.
rescuing Sif, but I guess I'm here, so let's just go do it. Although, this is going to be a lot of nonsense. You know what? This is probably going to be a little bit easier if I use the Dark Sword. Just
Yep, that feels easier.
so that this is mostly easier because I get that little bit of knockback that I can mostly just keep mashing light attack. There we go. All right, dog, you're good.
All right, animal.
I guess
Get out of here.
Sif is supposed to be a wolf instead of a dog, but
Yeah, well, same difference.
a wolf who is specifically the companion of a person, which makes them essentially a dog. So
Yeah, they're a dog.
I'm not picking that thing up. There's basically nothing here for us. Like, this is just cave.
Yep, just a lot
Alright.
of that cave stuff. It's not real. Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so there's a shortcut over here, but I guess I'll unlock it. So that's most of the DLC. It certainly is most of the, unless you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Actually, I can think of one other place that we should go take a look at, which is the bridge that leads over to Manus. This way. And up here. So again, there's a lot of, not a lot. There is some other stuff in here that is if we want different views of cave, then we can do that. But it's all going to be kind of the same stuff. So it doesn't interest me very much. What I am interested in is this thing. And maybe if we get down to the bottom of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's...
Yeah, I feel this is pretty cool. I like this. I think a bonfire would be really cool here.
Yeah. So this is actually reminding me that there's a place that we have not gone yet, which is Tomb of the Giants, because I specifically had that place in mind and we can go look at it. That is sort of similar to this in that it's kind of cliffside, but there's also features...
I actually immediately thought of Tomb of the Giants when we were going down here, and I was like, "Wait, did I not pay attention? Are we there?"
No, yeah, no.
But it's just a really similar looking area.
Right. So I don't know if there's any good angle here that we like better.
There was one. If you would go to the rightmost pillar, relative to you right now. So like the back of you as well. Yeah.
This,
Yeah,
this thing.
that one, that one. All right, and then turn so that the camera is facing like your face. Although no, you should face out towards the edge though. I'm not explaining very well.
Yep. I know it is like spatial
Little difficult.
location here is a little bit difficult.
All right, so if you walk forward a little tiny bit and then turn to your character's left, and then place the camera in the same way that it's placed now, which is to say, facing you. So that you have the large pillar in the background, like that's used as a bridge. That one. Yep, there it is. I think this is a cool angle.
This
you
is pretty
put a
good.
bonfire there.
Yeah.
Or you could be really wacky and maybe put a bonfire under the.
Like over where the
pillar.
glowy thing is.
Yeah, but I don't really.
I think that it'd be hard to get a good angle, basically.
Yeah.
Because like if we go over here, like okay, there's basically two options.
Like
there's
nothing.
like this way, and then there's like
that way, which isn't good.
And then the other way, which is not great.
Not feasible. No.
No. No. Yeah. Let's see. So you were saying like over here.
Yeah, like there. So if you just give me a couple like up and down angles, and we'll come back and think about it.
Yeah. I mean, down angle is looking at the floor.
down angle is not very helpful.
But you know, and then again, like.
Yeah, well, that's cool too. So.
Going off in that direction, which I'm kind of trying to think of how we can maybe capture as much of that.
I feel
bridge
like you'd
as
have
possible,
to clip out of bounds to do it, but also I could extrapolate it from what we are looking at right now if I rewatch.
All right. That done. Let's maybe go look at Tomb of the Giants too, because it's pretty similar to this, but with skulls instead of carved stone. Well, I say skulls. It's mostly bones in general, but all right.
Oh, you're gonna warp?
Is that okay? Like.
No, it's fine. You can. I was actually gonna take a very short break to get some water.
That's fine. We can.
Thirsty. But yes, I'll be right back then.
Okay. Given that she's doing that, I'm also gonna mute my mic for a minute so I can refresh myself. All right, I'm back. Here's a place. Well, I'll put on the hat for at least a little while so we can get a sense for basically where the edge of the cliff is here, because I can see myself dancing around a lot and walking off the edge, which would not be the worst. It just isn't what we have in mind.
Okay, I'm back.
Alright, welcome back.
Hello. Oh, everybody got water. Well, me and Ogre did anyway.
Right.
So, this is that place. What is that lump? Oh, it's the skull. That's
so here's the skull.
Giant guy.
Right.
This is actually pretty funny. In a good way, not in a bad.
Yeah, I mean this is
maybe so
the issue.
Yeah, right there.
I'm wearing the hat right now just because if I take it off, then things actually get a little too dark, like, and which might be the look you go for in the actual thing. I had it on so I could see where the edge of the cliff is. So.
All right. Yeah, get a couple angles up around here, and I will.
Again, so this. I'm gonna put this back on so you can so we can get angles with and without the lights because
There might be places around this bonfire that you have trouble stepping, it looks like. So just like
right. I
I
mean, I
can
can
I
break
can
the
scoot it over.
bones. Like if I once I break the bones, then it's easy to go there. But like I can't go behind the bones without breaking them.
Yeah, not at all.
And obviously, like I guess we can also get angles after the bones have been broken. That's
That's certainly true. We do want to get a lot of bones though because this is a cool
now that I
shot.
look at it, like it looks like the skull probably is not actually resting on its center of gravity. I'm
Well,
not
there's like a little pile of rocks under it. It looks like
right. I mean,
it
maybe
just so happens
eh,
to.
whatever. Um,
It
so
looks cool.
so one kind of interesting thing is that down there is the demon ruins.
Hmm.
I don't know how. I mean, but the problem is that we like the high angle.
Yeah, we
So
like the
unless you
skulls,
like
and
artificially make those
it's
up
not
higher,
impossible.
yeah, then which yeah, you certainly could do. What happens if I stand over here and look at the bonfire and then kind of get the like again in a
I mean, this is cool. This
in
works.
an image that's taller than it is wide, getting the skull and everything else in frame might. I mean, it's hard to do even with
Yeah,
in a super wide shot, but
I think you would have to choose between skull and backdrop, which is like a difficult decision.
right. And like you could probably even like flip like from this pose you could like flip the skull around so that it's facing outward or facing
Yeah.
towards the viewer where it's right because right now you can barely tell that it's a skull.
I don't know. Just like a skull there. It's not.
It's
It's weird.
it's striking, but maybe only on first
It's
impression.
it's too like lateral from that angle. Like you know what I mean? It's like it's filling up a lot of vertical space, and it looks kind of like funny
Uh huh.
and not like good
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of rating skulls, the pile of skulls in New Londo is better than this one.
Yeah, definitely. I will say one thing with the maggot hat, and actually without it, this is a nice place to look for me for to look at the clothing because I
Oh,
can see a lot of detail that I can't usually.
yeah. Whenever you want like clothing detail, I can do this, but which
Yeah.
is of course with the maggot
Well,
hat
here's
on,
a really good place to
it's
do
like
it. I mean, it's like
yeah, right, whatever.
maybe a little bit better than other places. But anyway, yeah. So I have a nice idea of it now, and so I think it was worthwhile to come here. And we can, I would say, between the two,
Let's this angle without the maggot
probably
hat.
the skull is a little bit more me, but the backdrop with the
I,
ruins and
I
lava is
like.
also cool.
I kind of like. Oh, you mean like comparing this to In the Abyss with the pillars or the stone blocks?
Eh.
Like,
Oh, comparatively, I don't know.
I
I
mean,
think maybe the pillar is a bit more strong as a composition. This is more visually interesting because more is going on, and like
right.
maybe it's I don't know.
I guess my issue
It
is
is a
that
lot more work for me as
like
well.
no yeah knowing your style like that backdrop here is cool, but I don't think it would fit with your style very well.
I mean, I'm perfectly capable of doing it, and it probably would look good as well. But like, just
Mm,
in terms of like, do I prefer it? Like, not really.
right.
Thinking way back, I would say that what is that place called after Queelag, where I was
Oh,
having you?
Demon Ruins. I mean, like the place
Yeah,
that's down there.
yeah, exactly. Well, I thought it was cooler from down there,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Right. Because like this actually, because I don't think it actually is down there. I think that's a skybox.
but it
Like,
looks so similar though, doesn't
I
it?
mean, it's supposed to look like oh, it's the same place.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
it's the same. Yeah.
but like the so like the actually let's we still have the binoculars. Let's look at this place in the binoculars. We can try to guess if that's actually geometry.
Is it a texture?
I'm pretty
It
sure
looks
that's
like a texture to
that's
me.
it looks more like a texture, and because it looks more like a texture, I don't like the look of it as much.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's like
It's cool art. Like it has like a dreamy look, but like
yeah, it definitely looks like a painted onto linen kind of look,
yeah.
um, which is neat in an aesthetic sense, but in terms of a scenery sense, it's not quite as good.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, it's worth thinking about. But
Right,
I would still say of the two, I would actually be in the literal location that that is supposed to be.
right. Which maybe we can just. You mind like just going there right now and looking at it for
Yeah,
comparison?
we can go.
Because that's a pretty short walk from the Daughter of Chaos bonfire,
We do have footage, but I would go back. I don't mind.
and these are both warpable bonfires, so we can.
Yeah, easy,
It's like a
easy for
minute.
us.
at maximum to... We pretty much decided that, like, spider egg area is really not that great.
I was gonna say because Queeleg's sister and the guy is there. It's like too much of a family portrait if
No,
you were
yeah,
gonna like
right.
like a bonfire there. Yeah.
I mean, the other thing is that there are a lot more bonfires in Demon Ruins and Lost Izalith that we did not visit previously that we could go visit, but I don't... I'd have to consider them carefully. I don't like very many of them, basically, is the short
Yeah, I'm the
version.
same. I'm pretty familiar with this area. I'm not really compelled by the other ones. I literally only liked this one.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
so
again, because we kind of like this stuff.
yeah, we liked that stuff indeed, or I did, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, again, I like the over here where there's the big old dome with the tree roots on it, but again, I don't think it would be hard to arrange a composition where you could actually see what that is. Like it's
Well,
it's mostly interesting to me because in game you can like walk over here because
yeah, like go up
its
there.
scale is communicated to the player because you can get a lot of different angles on it, which is something you don't do in like a painting. Basically.
Yeah, static picture.
Because like it starts out very far away and you can gradually get a little bit closer to it, like this.
It's really funny for this stream. I've realized like I really don't like round things in a composition, like rounded edges and stuff. So like this would automatically not be.
And
fun
like you
for
can
me.
only tell it's a dome because you can like see way down there and then look up there. And anyway, I'm gonna go back up to the bonfire.
Ooh, this looks pretty cool. But is it bonfire material? I'm gonna say no. It's too orange.
Yeah, there is a lot of orange here, which I mean the only orange.
It's neat, but
the only
not...
outright orange should be the flame of the bonfire. I feel like otherwise.
Yeah, for the context of this picture, I'm not interested.
I mean,
in general, though, I am interested.
If I wanted to abandon the idea of lighting a bonfire, I could just like have the characters standing out in the middle of the lava.
Yeah.
Or something, but that doesn't really. That's a lot less dynamic. And I'm not interested in like an action shot of like the character fighting a Taurus demon or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a possibility, but it's not.
I mean,
really.
as cool as it is, whatever.
Yeah.
We have our parameters, so we're gonna work with them.
Anyway, so I don't know. So that's pretty much all we've got going on here. And yeah, like now that we look at it, like if we were doing this area, I would kind of maybe in some way change the foreground like ground texture, just because I don't love the spider webs. I don't know.
Yeah, it could just be.
What do you think? Because
or...
like it's spider web over rock here, and then but if you get a little bit further out, it kind of dissolves into just rock.
Into nothing. Yeah.
So I feel like I would want so here's just sort of generic rock texture.
Yeah, I mean, I think just like some abstract like color is better, maybe, and that doesn't detract from the way the bonfire looks to the viewer. Yeah, that's fine.
So I think again, I think this might count in maybe top 5.
Yeah, I think so as well.
But I don't know. So let's see. So moving on, I don't know. There are other places to go, but let's see. Let's just look at the list of workable bonfires and think about them. So I went to the Painted World and sort of unlocked it so I can get through it relatively. Oh, we also got a nice leg wheel going on here. That's pretty good.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
For a second, I thought the character was just like, impatient, and I didn't even register it.
That's not an animation. I mean, the character is moving, but that's not intended. So I unlocked the Painted World so I can get through it pretty quickly. If you want to go look at it, I don't really.
Yeah, we can look.
Let's go look at it because again, I can get out.
Yeah,
the Painted World has funky bonfire rules where you can't warp out of there, but I specifically made it so I can leave relatively quickly.
Good.
I
I mean,
think.
this is nice. I like the
Yeah, yeah,
contrast of the bonfire because unlike the place we were just in, it's not like orange. It's like green and blue and maybe a little bit purple.
right.
Um,
So I don't
so I
love
like
like all the
that.
impaled guys. Like I can kind of
Yeah, I can't say I do either.
I don't I'm not too into that.
Oh, but you could turn the camera and you don't have to look at them.
But the thing is, if we do that, then we're just looking at some rocks and trees, and that's fine. But I kind of want the
I love
staircase.
rocks and trees. That's true too. Yeah, the staircase is fun
Like,
as well.
because if we were here, like again, our one of our things that we were kind of going for is like some man-made structures
Oh, indeed, yeah.
combined with either a man-made structure that's decaying or a combination of structure and natural forms, which
This is good. Yeah,
hey, there's a
just
crow.
angling up
Hey,
and-
crow.
Oh, I
Hmm.
like that. This is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'll come back to this. I sort of like this. I was sort of prepared to say no because like snow is too cozy looking for me, but then
Yeah.
since we're angling it up a bit, I'm like, oh, I like that. It's sort of interesting. Trees that look like this are not that common in Dark Souls. Like
Yeah.
so that's
You're
kind of
right.
nice. I like and I personally enjoy them.
I also kind of, again, with the aesthetic being of, like, being out in the wilderness, lighting a bonfire compared to being in Firelink, which is kind of the opposite of that. Like the painted
Yeah.
world, from a gameplay perspective, definitely is that because you cannot warp out of there, so
Yeah.
you really are here, and you have to find your way out. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, that's only of interest to people who've actually played Dark Souls. Like, I sort of feel like, apart from myself, people who might see this on the internet, probably most of them have played Dark Souls, or at least like
And they know what this is. Yeah.
right. But I at least want
This
want
is growing on me.
I
I
want
actually
it to be
really like
moderately
this.
suitable to people who have not played Dark Souls. Now this is
Well, I
actually
mean, if
this
I
is
hadn't played
good.
Dark Souls, I would like this. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
right.
is good, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like, this is pretty
this
strong.
is a very good
I'm
combination
writing
of.
this down.
This is better than I expected it to be.
Yeah, and it's like the lighting and all is quite nice. Although, of course, in a sense, it doesn't matter because like I'll just use whatever reference I need. But like, I like this. And it's if I was just only gonna draw from one reference, then this wouldn't be the worst.
Right.
Or you know, a few. Yeah.
It's also kind of interesting because if I pose right, then the character's feet are not on the level ground, which is
Yeah,
kinda
I like
cool.
that as well. That's how I usually like to draw characters too, with
Yeah.
like
'Cause, like,
different legs.
most places where you're lighting a bonfire, your feet are on level ground, which,
Yeah.
if I finagle it correctly, then that is not the case. All right. That said, like again, I think that is the best angle. Like if you wanted to, like if you're severely doctoring the scenery, you could chop out most of the staircase and just get the bridge up against the bonfire, which
Yeah, I'm
would
not-
not be a bad thing.
I don't think so either. Well, I don't know. Actually, I'm not.
I mean,
not
this
really big
bridge
fan.
is.
Yeah, I'm not into
That would be something to do, but I feel like why go to the trouble of doing that when like the
the place where the bonfire already is so cool
this
that
place
like I
is
feel like
already
I don't
pretty
need to
good.
look.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
Okay,
I
alright.
almost don't even want to look at anything else. I'm in the painted world. Also,
Yeah.
that bird. You know that bird's getting in the picture. I'm not.
No,
putting
yeah.
the bird in.
So how would you do that? Like again, we don't want all these impaled bodies. That's not. You could just put them on the tree.
Yeah, I could put him on the tree, or I could just like leave the pike and just have it be like look like nothing. Like,
Okay.
I mean, there's ways to do it. Like,
Yeah. No, that's totally fine. Yeah.
yeah.
I kind of like the idea of we don't want the family portrait angle, but getting the crow or
But we need the animal.
or the
yeah.
or the moonlight butterfly off in the background. Like having the other character would be okay.
I
as
guess
well.
because they're more atmospheric than
Right.
they are. Right, exactly. And it's funny you mentioned the moonlit butterfly because I was just ranking with my awful short-term memory the things that I think are best and less best to draw.
All right.
I think the moonlit butterfly one is still my favorite.
Yeah, probably so. Maybe just for
Put this.
kicks, I might go up to the top of the helix staircase.
Sure, go ahead. That might
Which
be cool.
might take a minute, but
This is just a side note, and I'm not at all planning on including this being in the picture, but I really like the crow demons in this tower.
oh yeah, they're cool.
They're my favorite.
And the one in Dark Souls 2 is a very nice friend.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but I liked them before that. But
Right, but
the Dark Souls
they have a lot of
make
character, and they're dangerous, but not in a boring way.
it's my fitness goal. If I could just fly away like that. Oh, here we go. Yeah, perfect.
I mean, I unfortunately do have to kill them, but that's kind of...
Yeah, well,
Also, they're very tough. Like, 3 overhead slams, that's nuts.
yeah. That's why it's my fitness goal.
Uh-huh.
Very strong, can fly away. Just good, just aesthetic.
Let's see, there's like 2 more, maybe just 1 more. It's very dangerous fighting them around here because it's very easy to fling yourself off of a cliff. Or they can fall down there. That's cool too.
Oh yeah, this is pretty cool.
I mean, there's a lot of
that's all I have to
things
say.
around here, like
Yeah, it's just that you wouldn't put a
there
bonfire
another-
on like a stairway.
on like the very top of here. Like, go ahead and
That's actually a pretty funny concept.
like if you made this
Oh,
platform
cool.
a little bit bigger, so that you could actually fit a bonfire and also stand there.
Well,
There's the undead
it
dragon.
could be a
up there.
fun challenge to keep it the same size.
Right.
Let's see.
'Cause, I mean,
Yeah, it's cooler. Like, yeah, if you can see.
the problem is again, like we want to have a decent shot of the character's pants specifically, which is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And also all this architecture, which I think that's kind of a contradiction. I mean, I can go down, so I'm not like literally on top of the world.
Well,
So I'm like down here.
it's not as cool that way.
You're right, it's not
But
as
I
cool.
see. I mean, I see what you're talking about. I think if the picture was for a different concept, I would just like if you just needed a picture from Dark Souls, I would have just chosen what we just looked at. But given the golds and everything of it, I think it's probably gonna have to be discounted from my perspective.
Yeah. So that's kind of neat.
It is, yeah.
It's a very unique feel, even within Dark Souls being full of ruined fortresses.
Well, Painted World's unique. It's not really quite like anything else that I've seen in the game. Yeah.
Mostly because of the snow, but also...
Well, just all of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I guess it is a little bit like Duke's Archives, just like a little bit.
A little bit. Like, the Duke's Archives is not nearly as ruined.
Yeah.
But...
Similar feel.
When you're actually playing, like, the snow and the fact that there's, like, foley of your shoes making snow crunchy noises makes it very atmospheric. But
yeah.
Anyway, you may or may not remember that you have to leave by going and talking to the boss.
Right, and she says you can just go or you can beat her up.
Yeah, which I did not beat her up because I don't really have any reason
yeah.
to.
Oh no.
Tiny
Trash
man.
mob of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and also the big guy's
Oh, no.
following us, but that's fine.
Forgot about this guy.
It's fine, as long as I don't get too goofy about it. Also, because like his side swing goes over my head if I'm still in the overhead slam pose. Okay, there we go. All right, let's see what this guy dropped. Is it a bow? Is it? It's my good friend Broken Straight Sword. Yay!
How nice to. What a surprise to meet you here in the Painted World.
Guest starring on the stream, Broken Straight Sword. I didn't stop and look at anything. Like on this bridge, like all you get is like worse versions of the like near the actual bonfire in terms of.
It's cool, but it
we're
doesn't
looking
make
off
any
into
sense.
nothing. Like there's stuff over there. I guess I don't know what that's even supposed to be. Like, well, you still have the do we still have the binoculars? He says, with them clearly just right there on the UI. Looks like it's supposed to be rock things. Whatever. Okay. Let's get out of here. Oh right, I also wanted to go look at Dark Moon Tomb, just sort of to
Yeah, let's
consider
give it a go.
like how the boss fight music is already playing in the room, even though you haven't started the boss fight yet.
Way to
Okay.
go and assume about what I would choose.
I didn't mean to do
Jeez.
this, but okay. Alright. I'm gonna specifically kill this guy so he doesn't just chase me everywhere. And then I'm gonna ignore all the other guys.
Yep, sounds good.
Doot, doot, doot. Well, I'm now recognizing just how much endurance this character has if I'm able to sprint all the way across that room without running out of endurance.
Yeah,
Uh,
seriously.
Now these guys get a little confused if they come out here. They don't really know how to behave. Alright, so I didn't plan on like fighting Gwendolyn. I like the area past him. Just in general, it's very atmospheric, but that's mostly for like lore reasons, and
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
difficult to capture all of that uh, outside of the actual game.
It feels too nice for Dark Souls too. Like the
Yeah,
rest of the world is not really this put together.
Anor Londo, like the notable thing about Anor Londo is that it's not ruined.
Right.
So that's kind of cool. I mean, this place is interesting, but I don't think it's really what I want with all the like whatever this is supposed to be.
It's too like Temple of Time kind of.
Yeah. There's also some issue of like what it means to be a tomb in a place where everything's undead.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mostly here for pageantry, essentially.
Yeah,
And
basically.
that's fine, but again, kind of going for more of a wilderness look than this sort of place.
Yeah, certainly.
All right. I think we're probably kind of. We've looked at most of the things that we were going to look at. We didn't look at the Duke's archives.
We didn't, but can you really think of anything? Like when I reflect on it, I can't really.
Not really.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, Crystal Cave though.
I mean, we can go look at.
It's worth a look. I don't know. Like again, you wouldn't really want to like typify the picture too hard.
Mm-hmm.
And like Chris in the Crystal Caverns is literally just crystal.
Yeah.
It's pretty though.
If you,
So
it's. I don't know. It also has like the blue like fog bloom stuff going on, which makes the in-game shot look a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, the specific bonfire area, it's not my favorite.
Right. I guess if we wanted to go to the other part of Crystal Cave, it's actually easier to go to the other bonfire, so that you don't have to fight your way through the clams, which I do love the clams very dearly, but like, so I have the highest level character that I have in Dark Souls. I made that character before I knew how to like do any sorts of glitches or skips at all, and so none of the souls I from that character were duplicated or anything like that, and it also never really occurred to me that I could buy Twinkling Titanite from the giant blacksmith, because you can do that.
Yes.
And since a lot of things use Twinkling Titanite to upgrade, and the clams are the best way to obtain Twinkling Titanite, I spent a lot of time fighting those clams. So I'm quite familiar with waking up at that bonfire and just fighting clams for like an hour or two.
Oh boy.
No, maybe not that long. That's probably an exaggeration. I would probably
no,
get
I don't
bored.
think it is an exaggeration because those clams are pretty like. I don't know.
And the reason why that character exists is because this is a nice story to tell while I'm walking around in the Crystal Cave.
Yeah, why not?
Is that I decided to like have a run where I cut off Calameet's tail, because that's a thing you can do. And then I did that, but then I was like, okay, what am I going to do with this sword? The game is pretty much finished, so I decided to take that character through to New Game Plus Maximum, which I think is +7 or +8.
Oh wow.
So I did that, and that was hard, but I had a lot of time at the time, so
Yeah.
it wasn't that bad. But I kept going. It was like a New Game +3 or 4, and I was like, okay, now I'm bored and I want to upgrade. This is weird. There's like the shadow of a giant who's walking around above us. He's way up there, but you probably can't. There he goes. I don't know if you can see that on the screen share, but it's like
I see
a little bit of a shadow. Anyway. So I would get to like new game +3, and then decide that I wanted to upgrade armor set X or Y, and to upgrade a full armor set takes, I believe, 50 Twinkling Titanite. So maybe only 40. Let's see, yeah, 40, yeah, head, chest, hands, feet, and 10 for each of them. So I would decide, so I was fighting like clams on new game plus some high number, and to get 40 Twinkling Titanite, which would take a long time.
Yes.
Which, in retrospect, it would have been easier to go farm souls in the forest, which is where I would go to farm souls, and just use the souls to buy Twinkling Titanite, because the price of the Twinkling Titanite doesn't change, but you get more souls on higher new game plus levels.
Interesting.
Blah blah blah. Okay, so that's my my Crystal Cave anecdote. Do we like? I can go out on a bridge. This is gonna get a little silly because of what Crystal Caves is. Like,
yes.
One of the better views might be something like this, but I guess I can do it from one of the crystals that is not invisible.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're depriving yourself to do it from a visible crystal. This is cool. Yeah, this is very cool.
Yeah, this is like definitely. I think probably if we were doing this, we would definitely want a moonlight butterfly in the shot.
Yeah, definitely. Just because it's like, actually, this is a cool shot. Just with including. Yeah, it is. Is it a place where a bonfire would go? I don't know.
I mean, the bonfire could go over here.
Yeah, certainly.
And it's
like right there. It's a little too close.
Yeah, this is this is family portrait shot of me and my pet moonlight butterfly.
Me and my horse.
Yeah. Which try to explain to people why this butterfly has this like intertwined horn and that wheel thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a funny shot.
It is, yeah.
Anyway, let's just go out onto the other invisible pillar. I'm not gonna go fight that guy. That's too much of
don't bother.
Too much hassle, basically. Let's see if we can. Oh, we can get golem.
Oh, this is actually very cool.
Golem and butterfly.
This is like very artistic, like a little too like, because it makes you think too hard about like the relationships between everyone in the picture. It's cool, but I don't think it's like.
I'm trying to think of a kitschy reference for what, the phenomenon.
Like Adam touching the hand of God or some crud.
Oh, like
it does sort of look like that, doesn't it?
Very
but even though
Raphaelite kind of.
Yeah.
We need the people in this pose, and yeah.
Right, like what's bridging the gap between the human and the divine? It's the player character. Thanks. Like. Of course, that's not really.
Yeah, that's not the aesthetic we're going for here.
No.
And let's see if I go over here. If you hang around here long enough, that bonfire, that butterfly wakes up and starts attacking you.
Oh no.
Which, we can go over here and pose with the clams, because if you don't get too close to them, they don't wake up. Oh, that one woke up, but he'll take forever to get over here, and yep, here he comes.
Here he comes.
Hey, guy.
Hello, my friend.
Plan A here. Oh, hey, I finally have enough endurance to do 3 overhead slams. How about that? They gave me a skull. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So okay, around where that message is left on the ground would be a fine place for a bonfire.
Which message?
Kind of the back of you. That one? Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So, in spite of the fact that it looks very blue in here, it's actually not. If you check some of the facets of the stone, you get a lot of golden, peach kind of color values.
It's very iridescent, so...
Yeah, it's It's a little too heavenly for my image of Dark Souls.
Yeah, I think that's the main problem. This place is cool, but it's not Dark Souls.
Yeah, but it was worth it. It was worth checking, and also in a sense, it can be a good reference for color as well.
Right.
For the player character. because the outfit looks interesting in different lighting.
Hmm.
Um, okay, well that sort of rounds it out, doesn't it? I
Yeah,
can't
I
really
guess
think of anywhere
the
else.
last place we have not been is the tree, which would mostly be of interest if we wanted to get a very well lit shot of me lighting a
Yeah,
bonfire.
no. I think the well lit is not our interest.
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, because there's a bonfire that I have not lit there, basically, is what I mean.
Oh, never mind. I misunderstood what you're saying completely.
So, but I feel like maybe that might. I don't know if we would. I mean, we can go there if you want to, but we don't really need to.
I don't really. I don't think it's. I wouldn't want to dissuade you if you think it's good,
Nah.
but like, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not at all interested.
Yeah, I think we want a darker place than that. I mean, I guess you could darken Ash Lake, but then it's not Ash Lake anymore. Like the point of Ash Lake is you can see very far away and see all the big old arch trees,
Yeah,
and that's darkening that place doesn't. Then it's not Ash Lake anymore.
makes no sense. Yeah.
Okay, I think we're kind of. I mean, we can go to Altar of the Grave Lord just to look at it.
Yeah, we can. I don't think I will like it, but we can go.
I agree, but there is a big coffin.
Oh yeah.
So that's where Nito hangs out. He's dead. So
Well,
I guess this is a little too weird. Like,
well, actually, it's kind of interesting from like a very just like a pure compositional perspective, like
uh-huh,
because you have different angles coming in and all that. That's
right.
neat.
I mean, then over here we have like stalagmites,
Yeah.
and that's fine. Let's see if I stand over here.
Yeah, I'm gonna need more camera revolving and stuff, but
I mean,
it's
because
it's possible, but
this is very
do I
dark.
like it that much? I don't know.
There's a ghost flipping around, but
Yeah, so there's.
um, eh.
Yeah, I'm not in love.
I feel like
can't.
if we were doing this, I would rather have it be that place down at the bottom of the abyss with the stone.
Yeah, I agree
Blocks.
with that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's kind of it for Dark
Yeah, I think
Souls, I want
that's
to
it
say. So we can go finish
for
the
this
game,
run.
and
Yeah.
then we like the last place to look is the kiln of the first flame. So
Yeah, I I think I'm probably gonna like preemptively think to myself like no, but
I mean, yeah, I don't
suppose
think
it's
so either.
possible.
Like, so that's the other thing. Like, I can either leave this character not having beaten the game. Let's go look at the kiln of the first flame. I don't even have
Yeah,
to
let's
fight
do
Gwyn. I don't think I want the bonfire to be the bonfire after you beat Gwyn.
Yeah.
Not least because like you never actually light that bonfire. Like if you approach that
Mhm.
bonfire after beating Gwyn, then it does
It
the
just
final
forces
cut.
you. Yeah.
It does the final cut scene, and then which is not really lighting the bonfire, which is
Indeed.
a little bit uh closed-minded of me. I mean, obviously we
Oh,
we
well.
could have you lighting that bonfire, but like
Yeah, but
it's not
I mean,
correct.
I'm not
So-
yeah.
Let's go look at other parts of the Kiln of the First Flame, and because there's a lot going on in there, so let's just check it out.
Yeah, sure.
You know, there's also this bonfire. Like, we could either replace this with a normal bonfire, or
I disagree because it's gonna eclipse your outfit too much.
I mean, take out the
Oh, just
all
make
the
it normal.
stuff and just like take out the roots and the Lord Vessel and all that, and just put a normal bonfire here. For comedy, you could have Frampt hanging down in the background
Hanging
there.
out. It's
Hello.
not bad, but like it's not so good that I would feel like doing that.
I guess the main reason I'm a little bit tempted by it is because I really like the like ghost knights walking across here. This is like the
Yeah,
most
I like that as well.
the most atmospheric part of the game in terms of like surprising the player in terms and like communicating. By the way, this is the end of the game.
Yeah, I like it
Where
as
the hell
well.
go? Did I not kill enough of them to? They should keep going. Come on, guys, where'd you go? Do I have
Yeah,
to run
maybe
back
you-
up here? Like, I don't remember the rules for this thing, so. Yep, there they go.
There they go.
I wonder if. Sometimes I think that maybe if you killed more of the Black Knights in the rest of the game, then more of them show up here, and I didn't.
Yeah, I wonder.
I'm trying to remember. I feel like I actually did kill most of them, though, so up there.
There's something really wild you could do, but or not wild, but compositionally wild. It's not. I wouldn't suggest it because it makes your outfit very far away. But you can put the character at the top of the stairs,
Uh-huh.
and it would have to be a totally fake angle because I'm almost 100% sure you can't do this in game. But as long as the sort of figure of interest is at the very top of the stairs at the bonfire, appearing to light the bonfire. Then you can have a very, very, very low angle shot, like midway down the stairs, and have the knights like walking across it. That's actually very cool from an artistic perspective. But
Oh, you
as far
mean
as like, does it?
like
So
trying
the
to?
camera would be behind you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, like
You see what I mean?
So I'd have to like
But then pretend you're all the way
stand
down
over
there.
here, and then yeah, that seems.
It could be done.
challenging.
It would be very artistic. I mean, like as far as like what I would have to do, like it's definitely not a view you can get in the game.
Right, and this is the other thing that comes to mind is you could put a bonfire down here and just be looking up. Which
Yeah, like this is sort of like the view that it would be in what I described, except
Right.
maybe it would be a tighter shot in because that
Right.
makes sense. Honestly, maybe I'll do a sketch just because I'm curious to see if that would work.
Uh-huh.
But
The main issue with this is that because they didn't really expect you to look backward here, like the
Yeah, it
view
looks
back towards
funny.
the Lord Vessel looks very artificial. But
Well, with a certain
but
type of
with you could
framing, it might
you
be
you
cool.
could fix that like
Yeah,
pretty easily.
definitely.
Um, and like there also is like an actual there are like hewn stone blocks like specifically here, which is kind of weird because like on the outside is the like stone walls, and then there's this
Right.
the hewn stone archway, and then over here is Ash World.
Right.
So this is kind of interesting, but
It is, yeah.
finding the you have to like get way over here before you actually get the whole arch view. This is kind of neat.
I think the arch view might be cooler with the character filling most of it,
Yeah, like kind of like
like closer to it.
oh, like
Yeah, and then like looking up. Yep, that's cool.
it's a little-
But it doesn't help us. I don't know, but it's cool.
Mhm. Ogre mentions the MGS3 of Dark Souls, which I assume means like the final fight
The
with the boss
sorrow?
there,
Oh yes.
where you have white flowers everywhere, which is then all
This
kind of. Anyways, this is neat.
it is. It wouldn't be a bad place for a bonfire. It's just so
Right.
funny that there's clearly a bonfire at the top of the stairs.
Well, yeah, I mean you wouldn't draw that part, but the other thing you probably like I don't even know if I would want like the ghost knights walking across the stairway. Probably not, just because it's a little too hokey.
It might be
Like,
a little hokey.
Independent
I
of
like it.
like most of the emotional impact of those things here is because the player has worked very hard to get here and
Yeah.
is about to fight the final boss.
They're just cool as like indistinct figures, not necessarily
Right.
like evoking an emotion or whatever. But...
Right.
Oh.
Oh, Ogre meant the part
That's-
fighting the sorrow, which is also what you said.
Oh, that's what I said. Yay.
Yeah. Okay. So the two of you knew what
We
you're,
are.
what you're talking about. But
I suppose we do. Chad and I just replayed. Well, he replayed it. I watched Metal Gear Solid 2, and we're just about to do
Okay.
3. So
oh, okay, cool.
I was thinking about it.
So there's also this shot, which is quite unique.
That's cool, actually.
in
Yeah.
that, I mean, I would not really necessarily want you to get all
It's
of
a
the
lot
detail
of
in
work,
there.
though.
The suggestion of all that detail is mostly what I'm interested in.
Oh, sure. So if
Um,
I like kind of squint my eyes and look at this, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, like I mean, the main thing here that's notable is the like very overcast sunlight,
Yeah, I like that as well.
which is pretty unique in Dark Souls, and also like the ash covering everywhere. Like we can talk. I don't know how much you've like. Okay, so this thing is a good example. Like it's supposed to look like a very hot fire came through and melted everything.
Yeah, like something blasted. Yeah.
Right. And that's also somewhat unique.
Yeah.
Ogre's been busy playing Tetris. That's good.
Ooh.
Okay,
fun.
I'm gonna go just sort of take a slow walk. Where'd he go? He's over here. All right. I confused the heck out of this Black Knight. That's okay. We can sort of take a guided tour of the Kiln of the First Flame here
Sure.
and see if there are any other angles we like better. Like that one's pretty good because it's supposed to be an establishing shot anyway, obviously, because it's like you're walking down into the kiln and you want to see all of the places. So it's unlikely that we'll get much better than that, but we can see what our options are.
Yeah, sure. I think there's a bit of a risk with any false bonfire placement that like might sort of be really jarring. I haven't even played this game that much, but I feel like I would look at a picture like that and go like, that's wrong.
I definitely am
Bad.
feeling that, like, now that we've spent a little over 4 hours total between the two streams, like, the more I think about putting a bonfire in a fake place, like, it's
Yeah,
like,
it makes you a little mad in a way.
why? Like, there are good
Yeah, like,
places
how
where the
dare
actual
you?
like
Yeah,
the
exactly.
one things that are still sticking with me are like down at the bottom of New Londo.
Yeah, that was alright.
That was all right, and then like down in the abyss with the stone blocks. But I think the more I
Yeah, all the places
say
I wrote
that,
down in my top 5 to 6 is all like real bonfires.
uh-huh.
It's interesting. I didn't choose a single fake location. I don't think so, anyways. Oh no. Sorry, the skull pile. Actually, it's on here.
Yeah.
So the skull pile is the one exception.
All right, I'm gonna kill this guy and then look around it. Whoop! Down he goes. Okay.
There. Bye. Ooh.
Okay. So there's a lot of different angles to consider here. A lot of broken architecture.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Let's
There's lots of like twisted.
Go over here. Because if I go over here, I'll have a better view of the sun. Barely.
It's kind of cool.
Let's just get that thing out of the way. I don't know if, like,
It's giving me too much of like a Colosseum vibe, which I
yeah,
don't
I
like.
mean, that's sort of what it's supposed to do for the player, but it's not that great
Mhm.
from an aesthetic perspective.
No.
Also, is that Gwyn down there? I'm trying to think of what that light source is. Oh, you know what that is? That's the Black Knight dropped it.
Item. Oh.
It's floating in space because he
When
died
he
died
yeah.
on a kill plane instead of on the floor.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I was like, what is that thing? Okay. All right. Yeah, all right. I'm not really digging too much of this all that much.
No, me neither.
So I guess the final question is, do I want to actually go fight Gwyn on stream, or do we want to like leave the character because like if I want to keep access
Well,
to the whole world,
Yeah, we may want to revisit.
right? So I'm gonna not fight Gwyn.
Let's not do Gwyn. Yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing that we're gonna see in there that will convince us that we need to put the picture in Gwyn's boss room.
I don't know. Again, like that's like the same problem as putting a fake bonfire somewhere, except a lot worse because like the narrative import of the killing of the first flame
Yes.
like would overwhelm like the aesthetic considerations.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so I'm going back to Firelink. And we might be wrapping it up unless you have anything else
Yeah,
you want to cover. I mean,
No.
one thing
I
we
don't
could
think
do
so.
is we could go look at Darkroot again, just now that we've
Oh, yeah, sure.
seen the rest of the game.
Well,
I don't know.
there's only one thing I want to look at if we go there, which is the view that we already looked at.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
can do that by watching a stream.
Right,
Or sorry,
okay.
a save stream.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
Okay.
I can list. We can do it on stream or we can do it off stream, but I have a top 5, and I also I appended a 6 in case none of those were good.
All right, I think we can probably stop the stream and then we can
Yeah. Okay.
talk about details a little bit more
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
offline. Okay, so thanks Ogre and anyone who takes the time to watch this, I guess.
Yeah, thanks anybody who stopped by. I really appreciate it. Maybe it's a fun look into the creative process.
Yeah, right.
Or maybe it's not. I don't know.
Hopefully so, but that's very entirely subjective. So,
Yeah.
thanks for watching. Talk to
thank
y'all
you.
later.